Hi there, Kate Bora and Fiona Pearman. And this week we're continuing the conversation around resilience. And today we want to talk about the how to. How do we build resilience as individuals? And the first place to start that's really important, and from our perspective is foundational, is prioritizing physical resilience and physical well-being. Here we're talking about sleep, hydration, movement, nourishment, really looking at what works for you. And this is going to be different for everyone. And it may also change over time. But prioritizing and understanding what are the strategies that I have to maintain and manage my physical resilience, especially as we're heading into maybe some busy times, challenging times, means that our support for our mental and emotional resilience will be stronger. We know that they integrate, but your ability to find the strategies that work for you is really critical so that you can access and pull the lever when you need to.
And I think when we get better at managing our physical well-being, we can also start to tap into what we call creating some good resilience circuit breakers. When we notice that we're feeling a bit depleted, when we notice that we're feeling pretty much on the edge, that we're getting exhausted, perhaps heading towards burnout, it's really important to have almost a toolkit or some go-to quick and easy, preferably low cost or doesn't require much to do it. We sometimes talk about, what's a lovely walk that's close by to your home you can take? Who can you phone and have a quick conversation with? Who can you catch up for a coffee with? What are the things you can do? What are the few yoga stretches perhaps that work for you? Or we're big fans of finding a few moments for reflection. How about journaling and just writing down what's going on for you? Often when we empty what's in our head or what we're getting agitated about, what we realize is perhaps not working for us, as we go to write it down and we explore that, it's almost as though that frees us from some of the mental worry about what's going on, and that can be quite powerful. And I think when we start to have this as a resource, we can practice some good resilience rituals. What are the small, repeatable things that will maintain that baseline? If you're someone that over winter notices, you quite often get colds, you're quite often sick, what are the things that you need to do to really support yourself? And that might be something you eat, might be something you drink, it might be something you take. Other things like, just even spending a few moments in gratitude each night or doing we really like breath work as a way in which to ground and regulate ourselves. All of these things can often bring us down from a state of being escalated or feeling overwhelmed to actually, I can do this, I can cope.
Yeah, I think strategies that support the micro moments, right? Um, and that allow us to level things out. I know, having a cup of tea in the sun is one for me. Going for a walk around the block, and this was back when we were in, offices 5 days a week. Like having strategies that you can uh, just leverage, especially in the moments. Um, it may not be possible, in the middle of a meeting, to go and say, hold on, I'm just going to go and sit outside and have a cup of tea in the sun and I'll be back, right? But you can say, can we take a bio break and go to the bathroom and take a couple of breaths and really just calibrate in? And so your ability to have, your toolkit, we say these go-to strategies that you can use in across multiple different dynamics or experiences, so that you can, when you notice yourself in a reactive space or feeling overwhelmed, that you can use these strategies and to resource yourself to be able to navigate through. I think beyond that, we really need to have a conversation around the root causes. Right? I think traditional resilience conversations have always talked about the tactics, and they're really important. But when we have our resilience is under pressure repeatedly over time, that is when it doesn't matter how many yoga classes I do, it doesn't matter how many great nights out with my girlfriends I have, uh, they're not going to support and solve for the problem that is driving the need to have such resilience. And so we cannot, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, we cannot sustain, right, high levels of stress for such long periods of time. So it is important that we open up a conversation. This will often take courage to increase our awareness around what's driving the need for me to have such high resilience.
I think sitting below that and alongside it is to get some really good support structure and skills. It's more than just knowing resilience is important. It's more, as we're saying in the tactics, is actually, I need to build this into my life. I need to make sure that I'm honoring and spending time and giving myself enough so that I am resourced to face into difficulty, challenges, uncertainty, which is just part of the norm for most of us in our lives now. And so when we're embedding a new skill, resilience has been something you haven't been great at in the past. If you've done some of the self-care tactics, but you keep repeating the patterns, it's really important that we change. And so this is where a different approach and a different mindset is so important. And we know that the best way to learn and to integrate and start to practice this is to do it alongside others. We often see in community, particularly in the container of an Acts of Confidence program, it's incredible what a cohort of women will do when they've got the accountability buddies sitting alongside them who are asking good questions, who are checking in, who are making sure they did say no when they needed to, that they were taking good care of themselves, that they were prioritizing what matters most. And I think when we have support to change some of the things that have been our old defaults, that's more likely to embed a new practice and a new way of being.
And that's a great place. And it's actually where we start the Acts of Confidence program, which is active confidence number one, get clear and make decisions. Your ability to connect back in with purpose, what's important to you and why it's important, will do a couple of things. It'll anchor you in to be able to navigate through some tough times. It'll remind you in those moments where it's feeling hard why it's worth it. But I think the most important part of understanding your values and your purpose is being able to make good decisions. I think what we don't talk enough about when we think about, building resilience is decision making and prioritizing and saying no. Because in many circumstances, part of our resilience strategies is actually looking at what is on our plate, realistically assessing our capacity, and then going through a process of, renegotiating deadlines, saying no to things so that our capacity better aligns with our priorities. And I think that's not something we're good at. As individuals, we need to start to be able to figure out what that looks like personally. And then we need to have really good conversations, particularly when we think about our professional world, really good conversations with our leaders around what's doable for us as individual contributors. But if you're a leader, what capacity the team has and what priorities you're agreeing to.
Yeah, one of the beautiful things is when we start having these conversations in organisations, there can be a really powerful ripple effect as others start to appreciate what matters. We're going to leave it there. If you've enjoyed today's confidence conversation, you know someone in your network who'd benefit from it, please share it with them or tag them. If you'd like to see more, we've got a huge range of videos, hundreds over at our YouTube channel, where you can subscribe and get up to date with those and more in this resilience series. If you'd like to hear about our alumni sharing their impact of the program and the ways in which it's helped them build resilience and get better at saying no and prioritising, there's over 50 videos there. And when you're ready to go deeper with your relationship with Core Confidence or join the Acts of Confidence program, visit our website, coreconfidence.com.au.